What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a new year. I guess it's not welcome back. Welcome to 2025. I had to consciously think of what year.
Yep.
In my head, it's like 2013. I don't know why. After 2013, I just stopped counting the years.
Oh.
How are you doing?
Fully. I saw this reel or TikTok or X or something a couple of days ago, and it was like, why do I still think 1970 was 30 years ago? And there's something about it in the 2000s, and even I wasn't even remotely alive back then or anything, but in my mind, 1970 will always be 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what, 60 years ago almost now? How'd that happen?
Right? I'm not 18 at 2013. Yeah. No, bitch, you are in 2025. You're going to be 30. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But anyways, we hope you guys had a lovely kickoff for 2024. We hope you accomplished a lot. If you didn't, don't sweat it because we got 2025. And you know what? This is going to be 10 steps to build a strong fitness routine for the upcoming year.
Love it.
Yeah. So shall we get into our first segment of hot takes? You want to give yours?
My hot take is leaning off kind of what you said. Right now, you're probably looking at your vision board. You're setting goals, and you probably look back and you're like, I didn't accomplish that because I know I didn't fully. But I think you have to remember it's okay if you didn't accomplish every goal. Because I know I heard the saying once, and I've said it on the podcast, but you overestimate what you can do in a year and you underestimate what you can do in 5 years. So I think we always think we can do so many things in 1 year, and realistically we don't have the time. But there's nothing wrong with still trying. And then I was I like to look back at my vision boards of 5 years or so, and it's wow, I actually did so much. But when I look year by year, I usually only accomplish a couple things. But just remember that you still had a successful year, and maybe take that into account, and maybe try, if you are someone like me who does multiple vision boards, look back and look at how much you've accomplished over multiple years, not just necessarily 1 year, because life can happen.
Yeah. Okay. I like that little hot take.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come at you with mine. And that is, if you catch yourself saying, oh, I'm too busy to work out, I'm too busy to eat healthy and meal prep, stop doing it. You're just lying to yourself. It is 2025. We are throwing that away in the trash. We will always have time, even if it's just 10 minutes, to do a YouTube workout on the floor. Mm-hmm. And I think let's make it the year to call yourself out. I'm all about self-love, but also self-love is sometimes tough love, being I am making these excuses and let me get back on track. And yes, of course, take rest days. I feel sometimes I can be a heavy hitter with that, being it's all lies, you can do it. But I really do stand by that. I mean, even spending time with you, seeing your routine, you work a lot. You work 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, but you wake up at 5:30, you have your coffee, then you go and you work out in the morning, you get ready, then you walk to work. We can hopefully always fit it in if we have kids, if we have really high demanding jobs. Hopefully we can find a nap time, or maybe we can find a little break during work just to take a walk. But hold yourself to a standard of, if you have time to work, if you have time to do all these things, just add it in as a little habit, like brushing your teeth. If you have time to brush your teeth, you have time to work out.
I like that. Or time for a little workout. 3 minutes.
I
was hour workout, a 3-minute brush teeth.
3 minutes is better than nothing.
And that's where I was something's better than nothing. That I agree on. But I was not exactly same time equivalent.
Yeah. Sometimes people think oh, I have to fit in an hour or else it doesn't count. And that is just not true. You can do a 20-minute workout, a 15-minute workout. It's better than nothing. You're going to leave that day being at least I fit it in. At least I walk to get my coffee. I walk to pick up my kids from school, whatever it may be.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. So should we get into the 10 steps?
Yes, please.
All right. This is for anybody that is looking to just set some great fitness goals and you're really trying to hold yourself accountable. This is an easy way to just build a strong routine, even if you're a beginner. First and foremost, set a goal. I think that's a really important thing, especially you're already doing New Year's, might as well give yourself a little fitness goal. It could be something working out. It could be something physical. Maybe it's a physique goal. Maybe it's a health goal. Maybe your doctor's oh, you need to work on improving X, Y, and Z. But figure out the goal and make sure that it's a SMART goal, which just means you hit all of the factors where it's, what is a SMART abbreviation?
Specific, measurable, actionable. Is saying, I forget R.
Timely?
Yeah, timely. R. What's R?
What is R?
SMART. I will look it up while you.
Okay.
SMART goal meaning. is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. Oh, it's always the relevant.
That's like,
good.
yeah, definitely. So just break it down. I'm like a big person that if I set goals, I break it down to a T where I can't fail. Like down to like, when am I going to wake up? When am I going to even like brush my hair? That way there's no like room for error. Yeah. What do you think?
I love it. And I think with that, it's like a great way if you're kind of like, that's overwhelming. It's like reverse engineer is always the trick I do with my goals. It's like, pick your biggest goal and go be like, okay, say my goal was to run a marathon. Okay, I want to run my marathon in a year. What do I have to start doing in 6 months? What do I have to start doing in 3 months? What do I do in a month? What do I do? And reverse engineer until eventually you're like, I just need to run 500 meters for the next week, and like just reverse engineer and then find a way to implement. And I think that's a nice way to do it. And then like you said, use the classic SMART analogy.
Love it. Okay, number 2 is create a balanced workout plan. So like along with your goals, how are you going to achieve it? And if you can't go to the gym 5 times a week, that's okay. Like you can still achieve your physique goals depending on what they are with something less. Maybe it's more achievable to have a 3-day a week. Like I used to be someone that did 5 days, and now I really only have time for 3, and then I add in Pilates or something like that, or maybe I go for walks. So just make sure you have a solid plan though that you can at least sustain. Like a lot of people will just create crazy ass plans during New Year's. If you did that, stop it. Like make it relatable. Even if it's only 45 minutes in the gym each day, that's okay.
Yeah. I love that. And not to just go back with a reverse engineer, but that allows you to like build, like start small and build. I think that's the best way, instead of like starting so much and doing 100 things. Like figure out what you want to do and find the smallest things you can do to start that you know you can accomplish. And after you do it for a couple weeks, add. So start by walking 50 meters a day. Then after a couple, 60 and like 80. And you know what I mean? And do that versus being like, I'm going to walk 30 miles today. Like, no, you're not. Like, you know what I mean? Versus small and build, but by like looking down where you want to build to can be helpful as well, versus like build to at the start.
And if you don't know how to build a workout plan, we got AI now, baby. True. We got ChatGPT. They can build out a workout plan for you. We got trainers online. We got PDFs you can get, or we could just go on YouTube. You can go on TikTok. People will break it down. It is free. Like you really, if you want to pay for somebody, if you want that financial like commitment, totally understand. Or if you just prefer, hey, let me try and get by with this my way. We have so many resources. There's no excuse being like, well, I don't know how to do it. We can like always educate ourselves online.
I love that.
Okay, number 3 is consistency over intensity. So basically just, make sure that you're being consistent no matter what. It doesn't matter if you didn't hit new PRs. It doesn't matter if you were able to last 30 minutes on the Stairmaster, but then today you only did 5. It's like, at least you showed up to the gym. I always tell the girls I train, if you just don't want to go to the gym or you don't feel like it, you don't feel like lifting, maybe it's your time of your month, just go to the gym and walk on the treadmill or stretch, so you at least get that habit of like, oh, my brain associates me going every day at 4 p.m.
I'd say both of us do this well, and it's like neither of us are like the fittest people on earth. Neither of us are like going to the Olympics.
Me?
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to break it to you, but we're both have fitness as part of our careers. We're both like, quote unquote, I hate to say it, but like fitness influencers. And like, even so that would be like, and people come to us for fitness advice. And what sets us apart is we've been consistent. We haven't been the best, but every week, multiple times we show up. And like, that's how far you can make your whole career of fitness by just like consistently doing enough that you always do it. And you're going to hear every fitness professional just say that, because it is the truth. It's not the perfect workout plan. It's not giving 100% every single time. It's just consistently showing up over multiple weeks and months and years. And that's really as simple as it is.
Yeah, and just not falling off the wagon. I feel like so many girls I talk to, when I check in on them, they'll be like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm traveling this week, I can't do anything. I'm like, I'll give you some travel workouts. Yeah. Like, I still work out while I travel. I still am mindful of like my protein intake, things like that. And just like, it can be something as little, just being like better 1% each day. I'm like figuring out how to fit in and like make that more of your lifestyle. But it's okay. Like, sometimes I think people feel really overwhelmed and they're like, I don't know where to start. I feel like I'm like too far gone. I've like heard that a lot, where they're like, I just don't know. Like, I've gained all this weight. I don't know how to get back. And it's like, you just have to be consistent. And like, it's okay if we fluctuate. We're humans. You're not meant to be ripped 24/7. Like, take it from me. I've dealt with lots of that in like my fitness career, even online, to where people have seen me get in and out of my fitness journey. And like, what matters is like, I didn't quit. And then you just like get back into that consistent routine.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is track your progress. So if you want to just figure out what works for you, like whether it's just making a Google Doc, maybe you have an app. The girls I train, I have an app where like they literally can track everything, sets, reps, timer. So it's perfect. So I can see how they're doing. And then I use it for myself. Or if you just want to like screenshot certain workouts, whatever you want, but have something you can see like, hey, I went, maybe have a big calendar on your wall. What do you think?
I love it. And also don't go too extreme. Like there can be, depends on yourself. Like some people, it's like love track data. You want everything, you want every little detail, and that's really rewarding. You want all of it. And that's good. But at the same time, some people, it's like, I have to track so much, I won't do it. So it's just like, oh, if I have to track calories, I start doing it and like that's too overwhelming. So I'm just not going to do it. And you just fall off completely. I love a good streak track. If you've seen all my YouTube videos, will just like print off Canva 30 days, and every day you wake up and just you check it yes or you check it no. And there's something so satisfying about just seeing like, oh, I did do 14 days of weight training. Like, so some way to just physically show progress that you're actually like showing up consistently, whether it be an app, a notepad, a Canva, like iPad, there's multiple ways. You can handwrite it, electronic, but it doesn't even have to be tracking details. It can just be tracking, I worked out. And then maybe it's like, I worked out and drank water, but there's something so satisfying. Like if you saw my barefoot running series, like at the end, I looked at 30 days. I'm like, yeah, I did that. All I did was check a box. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, next up is incorporating rest days. I feel like you love this topic. What do you want to kick it off?
Even as simple as like, that's part of it. Like a rest day should be incorporated in your plans. So like, for example, the 30 days, I still accounted for rest days. And so I was like, Sundays are my rest days. So I still gave myself a check for having a rest day. Or if you're someone who wants to do a streak, like have a rest day where it's like, say you're doing a yoga challenge, just do a 3-minute yin where you just kind of stretch it to keep the routine or something. But like, you can't go 100% if you don't have recovery. There's only so much you can train in a week and gain. Like there's only so much faster you can get. There's so much stronger you can get. So there's no point doing more. All you're doing is limiting the amount your body can recover, because that's all weightlifting is. And a lot of exercises, it's causing damage to your body. Your body has to adapt. It adapts when it recovers, and then you get stronger or faster. But if you don't give it the time to adapt and recover, you're never going to get stronger and faster. So you need to incorporate the downtime.
Okay, yeah, I love that. I feel like I'm someone that can like toxically not take rest days. So even if like say you're jittery or you want to get the movement in, like just go for a walk, maybe do a sauna session. At least like it kind of calms your brain down of being like, oh, I did something productive for myself. Stretch, things like that, instead of doing those high intensity workouts.
Yeah, or even like, I know for me, like I'm not a rest day girly either. But like on Sundays, I just make sure to get outside. And there's something about getting outside and not being like cooped up inside all day feels good. And you're still allowing yourself to recover. So find little subs you can do if you're the overworking girly, which typically is listening to fitness podcasts.
You are our demographic.
I was like, we could say, oh, don't worry. But we know you need to reminder you, Becky, rest days.
Exactly. Even we were going to do, so we went and worked out this morning, and then Keltie had us plan Jaybirds. I wanted to try it because I always hear her talk about it. But like, dude, I am so sore from our workout yesterday that it's like, it's okay. Don't push yourself. But toxic Savannah would have been like, I'm about to hop on a plane for 12 hours. I need to go do a second workout. And it's like, no, just chill. Yeah, you're feeling rough.
Exactly.
You know what I like? You know what sounds so good right now? A cold plunge. Because I'm so sore.
Yeah, that would
like,
do it.
Right?
Cold plunge or sauna. I feel sauna sounds better right now.
No, cold plunge like takes away all of like my aches. Do
Takes
you
away all
not
my
feel that
problems.
way? It really does.
All cold plunge does for me is like wake me up. It does do that, but that's all it does for me. So like for me, there's no other benefits aside from like burst of energy. And that's all. Anytime I'm kind of cold exposure, and it helps me sleep at night. If I do cold exposure in the morning, it helps me sleep at night. For that, I like it. But that's, being honest, that's all it's ever done for me.
Did you think when I said like, oh, that sounds really good right now, did you think I was going to say some form of like food?
No, I thought you were going to say sauna.
Oh.
I thought you were, that I was like,
that's never came in my mouth. You know what sounds really good right now? Jumping in a 30-degree.
Yeah, that was unexpected. That's why when you said it, I was like expecting sauna. I was like, cold plunge. I'm like, oh,
no,
that's wild.
I used to hate the cold plunge. And then when I had that chiropractor problem with all my joints and everything was in so much pain, I would like throw my body in there, and like I would always gloat to Michael being like, I went in the cold plunge. This time I'm like not even telling him. I'm just like, I'm in so much pain. This thing like is the only thing that numbs it for at least 3 hours. So I'm a big advocate for cold plunges. But okay, next step. Nutritional alignment. Stop ignoring your nutrition and your fitness journey. It's like that big elephant, that awkward elephant in the room that nobody wants to address. And like, I'm all for intuitive eating. I'm all for not having to track your macros, but like maybe come up with a version that will help you get to your goals. Like for me, sometimes I tell everybody like, just track protein then. Like if you know that you aren't having enough protein, you're trying to build muscle, like we obviously can't ignore that, right? So try to find like a good compromise. I like to track my macros because it's more science-based for me of being like what my body needs. But in the past, I didn't have that relationship. What did you think?
I love that. And one tip I'll definitely give is I think it's better to consider nutrition education than diets.
Yes.
I think this time of year, you're going to think of a new diet. I hear this is great and this is good. And one of the biggest things that like I've always felt that I feel very empowered with my nutrition journey is I educated myself about nutrition from professionals, like understanding what a calorie, carb, a protein, and a fat is, understand fiber, understand portions, understand just micronutrients, the whole variety, like without boring you with the nutrition lesson, learn that. And then you never have to be on a diet again because you understand nutrition. And so I think that's the best thing you can do with yourself is like do some self-education, and then that will help bring you, then that's all you need. And so that'd be just look at resources from scientists, registered dietitians, like those two would definitely be the areas that is the best, and just educate yourself and then you're empowered for life.
Yeah, I feel like it's really cool when you learn like nutrition of just like what your body needs to function, to feel good, how it affects your energy. It's like you view it so differently than when you viewed it as a restriction back in the day. I used to solely just be like, I need to eat this many calories to be this certain weight. Now I'm like, oh, how do I get more energy so I can go for runs? And like, how do I feel better in the mornings? And like, how do I sleep better? Right. And like, this is the certain macro plan that does it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is stay hydrated. So, I mean, it's easier said than done, but if you're somebody that like does not drink water as often, just like bring your favorite water bottle, maybe splurge, get something that you love that you don't mind carrying around, clunking around, clocking, and just like, for me, like I literally get like signs with my body if I don't have enough water. So I feel like that's like my telling sign, but a lot of people can function with not as much water.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Oh, definitely. I think you just have to figure out like how much water you need that you feel your best, and like how can you ensure you drink that much if you're someone who doesn't naturally drink a lot of water. And even for me, when I know I'm off on my water and I'm not getting enough and I feel those signs, is I pre-fill all my water, fill. So like I've got a couple water bottles and I'm like, oh, say I want to drink 4 liters. I'll fill out 4 liters of the day. And then that's my little hack of like, I physically see how much water I need to drink. And then that helps ensure me I get enough. And so there's a little trick.
Yeah, I love it. All right, next up is mix up your routine. So to avoid plateaus or even just burnouts mentally, I think a lot of people don't like fitness because they think it's boring. It's like you're just lifting a bunch of heavy things and then going home, or maybe you're running and they're like, what do you think during your run? Like you need to figure out a thing that you like genuinely enjoy, what your body enjoys, what your mind is stimulated by. Like lifting weights for me, I'm like bored all the time. So like that's like the least that I do. I do like 20 minutes a day when I lift. And then I focus more of like cardiovascular health. Like for me, I think it's fun. I like pushing myself. So just like finding things that you like take a Pilates class, do yoga, just like look into like the benefits of those and see if maybe you'll become the next yogi and you had no idea. But yeah, just avoid those plateaus if possible and know it's okay to switch things up. Like if you're such a rigid person, I remember I had this girl that I trained that she was like, I really want your advice. I want a whole new routine created by you because something's not working for me. I'm like, okay, girl, I got you. I created the whole routine. She's like, oh, I just liked my old routine. I need to go back to it. And I was like, just try my routine. Like you can get set in your ways, and I totally get it. And like, it wasn't a bad routine that she had, but I'm like, you came to me for help and you wanted advice. So like, why not take this, switch it up, and just see if it works, right?
I love it. I love it. Also, another tip with that is if there's something in your workout routine that like you don't really enjoy, but you know is good for you, example, stretching, weightlifting is like, find something that you love so much you're willing to do it. Like I'll give like athletes as an example. They love their sport so much that they weight train. A lot of them hate weight training. So there's another little tip if you're like, I've tried weight training 100 different times. Like say you're into running. You get into running and like go into a view of like, this will make me a faster runner by strength training. So like even if like ideally you can find a bunch of different, but I won't lie, like weight training isn't my favorite. But I get so excited for running and doing other things that I know it's important. And so I do it, and like I know I'm like, oh, this is going to make that better. And I find that. So there's a little hack if you're someone who's like, I know I should stretch, but I don't. Be like, remember how much better that I get at the things you actually enjoy, the sport or the activity you like.
Yeah. Okay, next up is invest in proper gear. So comfortable workout shoes. Like for me, I prefer to like shop for workout clothes. I feel like a lot of people listening to this podcast do. They love good athleisure wear. And like I geek out over really nice workout shoes. Not necessarily like nice heels. So it's like just find like the things you like, the things you hate, take a note of it. Like I know Nike fits really narrow on me, things like that I'm like, oh, okay, like I got to go for the more wider foot people. And so just like take those notes, find what you like, what you don't like, switch them out if they are starting to like not work as well anymore, and like treat yourself to those, because you don't want to have injury just because you're not wearing like proper running shoes. Like stop running in Nike Metcons, or like just do a little bit of research, splurge next time if you can. And you can also get affordable, you don't need the trendiest shoes, you can get very affordable running shoes with great reviews as well.
Definitely. For running shoes, you can go to running shoe shop and they'll like assess you to the exact shoe that works best for you. So that's my tip there. And then also like go on YouTube and find out like professionals that are in the sport or the activity you want to do, and just see the gear they use, and then like try and find dupes for things if it's out of your budget and that. But that's a great way to just like educate yourself on the gear, like the shoes, and then the sports bras would probably be if I had to like say two things, like a legging, sports bra, and shoes, and like prioritize that for the sport. And I think that like just makes it so much more enjoyable. Like if I had to run in my weightlifting shoes, I would never run.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would have some painful injuries. Okay, last but not least is focus on recovery. This is something that I'm actively trying to do for myself, because I'm somebody that like hates to warm up, I hate to cool down, and my body is paying for it. So I'm actually like invested a lot of my money into just recovery for my body. I'm like doing deep tissue massages, and like I just splurge, like you can do it once a month, you can do it once a quarter, and try and find somebody that like you really enjoy and like are very knowledgeable as well. Invest in like a nice foam roller. I love a Theragun, and just kind of do that research. And sometimes like you could go to a physio, like Keltie has said, and see like what your muscular imbalances are, and then that way you can get advice on how to improve it, how to like properly warm up your body just to prevent that injury as you get older.
I love it. Yeah. No, I've said recovery 1,000 times. So I think it's a way to like just make sure it's incorporated, see where you lack the most, whether it be you lack ability in your strength training, you lack ability in your mobility, you're just always sore, you're tight, you feel inflamed, whatever it is, and like figure out the best cause. So like sauna is a great one, like you said. Cold plunge is a heat contrast therapy. There's compression gear. Sometimes also it can just be a couple deep breaths. Like here's a physiological sigh is a great one. It's like, okay, we're gonna do it together. You're gonna inhale twice and exhale. So you're gonna, but without exhaling in between. So an inhale, and then hold it, inhale again, and exhale. And that's like it's
yoga.
Yeah. And you've seen little kids do it when they're like sad. Have you ever seen a kid go,
Oh yeah.
It's like a natural response we have, and it just calms down your nervous system instantly. So like you can just do little snacks or recovery in the day to like just tell your body. I always think if you don't know if you're recovered or not, or if you're doing it right, I'm like, could you do this while running for your life? And you know what I mean? It sounds simple. If you're running for your life, you can't hug a person. You can't stop and breathe. You can't lay down. But if I'm running for my life, could it be running? Could it be blasting music? And so that's always my barometer of like, if you're chilling in a warm sauna or a nice little shower, your body knows you're not in fight or flight. And it's just a matter of getting your body out of that flight and into the calmness. So breathing, hugging people, relaxing. Try and do a bit more of that.
I love it. I was 29 years old when I realized yoga, that's why they do that. You know, they're like big inhale, and then they're like, inhale as much as you can once more. And I'm always like, this is so annoying. I just want to exhale. That makes sense.
There you are.
Okay. All right. Last little segment is just advice we'd personally give. I'll start off with mine. I think my biggest piece of advice for somebody is it's not instant, and you have to keep repeating yourself. We live in this day and age of wanting everything instantly because we have Amazon, we have online shopping, we have Instant Cart, we have everything that we can get at our fingertips, and we forget that like our body is not built that way, and it never will be. Even if you use enhancement drugs or you have something like Ozempic, it still takes time, right? There's nothing that's like immediate. So just be okay with like, if it doesn't happen after the first month, the second month, the third month. Like the first time I changed my body it took me 6 months. And just like keep chipping away, build that discipline, and just like commit to something in your fitness journey for a minimum of 6 months. Like if it's like a physique goal or whatever it is, and just give yourself time to kind of figure it out and pivot if it doesn't work. My second one is don't doubt the process and cut corners. That's how you become a yo-yoer with the yo-yo dieting. Like that's where you think like, well, I could just eat less and then I'll get my goal weight. But then it's like, well, you're actually messing with your metabolism. There's much more that goes into it. There's a reason why fitness people say don't cut corners, right? Like if it was that easy, we all would have done it. So take our advice because we probably have done it in the past and it just didn't work out. 3 is get out of your ego and trust if you want help. That's like a huge thing I had to do was like not ego lift and be like, hey, let me try a new routine, or like, let me try incorporating Pilates a bit more and like see if this actually benefits me, even though I thought it was a silly thing when I first started. And 4 is it's meant to be hard and suck.
Oh, that's a good reminder. Yeah.
I just think people are like, well, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, that's the point. We would all have ripped bodies if it wasn't hard and didn't suck. So
the classic, get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a good thing with like fitness and all that. And mine, I know I said at the beginning, but it's true. Like I will forever say this until everyone's doing it. Start as small as possible and build a habit. Just get into a routine, start until it's like part of your habit that you're almost bored, and add to it. And that's how you do something and don't fall off. Versus I think too many people start with so much, get overwhelmed, and then they miss one. So the next one they do it half-assed, and then it's slowly like the dwindle versus the build until it becomes a true lifestyle change. And anything I've ever done, it started with I'm just going to drink water before my coffee. And then I'm going to drink a second thing, or I'm going to start stretching for 30 seconds. Next week, a minute. And then before you know it, and that's why I don't typically fall off, because it's a true lifestyle change versus the opposite. Anytime I've fallen off, it's because I'm like, I'm going to do an 8-step, and then I get overwhelmed and then I fall off. Then next up is make it craveable. If there's a way you can make it like also like not just a habit, but that you actually crave something, you're like, I really look forward to this. The example I could use is like save a podcast, maybe this podcast, for your runs. So you're not like, you like have something to really look forward to when you're going to work out. Maybe it's like, oh, I have a sweet treat after, or maybe it's like I get to wear my new workout gear, or I get to listen to a specific song, like whatever it is. I have my podcast that I listen to only on runs. And so it's so excited for a run because I'm like, oh, that means I can listen to this trashy podcast. So like it's having that like little reward with it that you're like craving it because you're like, oh, that's what I mean. And I think it's like a placebo effect for yourself. And then lastly is gamify it. I love to gamify everything in my life. I love to make it feel like a game, little rewards. Like we said, we could do that. It can just be simple as streak. There's something, I know I say it, but so satisfying, human nature. The first 3 check marks at the streak doesn't mean, but by the time you get to like the 6th to the 10th, you're like, I can't break this streak suddenly. It's like human nature. Maybe you do a little like every day you show the gym, you put $0.25, $1 in a jar. By the end of the month, you have it. Maybe there is gamified apps, so like thank God on the App Store and stuff like that you can make it. But just find a way you can make life feel like a game and working out like a game, because it is just a sport. Like we play sports. Sports is just exercise. So how can you gamify your workout routine, whether it be your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, or the gym, and it just makes it more fun.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, we hope those tips helped. I know sometimes they can be repetitive, but drill it into your brain and hopefully it'll stick, because I feel like I had to hear that for years and I still have to hear it. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, do not forget to check us out on YouTube if you want to watch us chit chat. Check us out on Instagram. We post funny reels. I almost said feels. And yeah, leave us a review if you'd like. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.